and you are listening to Moccasin Tracks. My name is Deb Reger, and I want to tell you, I'm so excited to tell you a little bit about our guests today, Polly Andrews and Sonia. And they live in Anchorage, Alaska, and are from the traditional Kupik lands of Shavak. And I'm not sure if, I didn't pronounce that too good, but they are together. They call themselves the Aunties, Auntie Olga and Auntie Edna. And they gift us with such a wonderful sense of native humor. And it's really my pleasure today to welcome Polly and Sonia to Moccasin Tracks. Could you begin by introducing yourselves a little bit and tell us about where you live?
Huaka huinga Polly Andrews juhdun atcha na piriuk. Ilanka jufahamiungut. Apama atcha ulran Billy Andrews outhu. Mauchlumatlu Cecilia Andrews awuk. And what I said was, my name is Polly and my Chupik name is Napiriuk, which means to sharpen. And I was named after my great-grandfather. And my grandparents are from Chivak, and their names are the late Billy Ulran Andrews and living Cecilia Ayukung Andrews. And yeah, we originate from Kisunak, and we call our village Chivak.
Wingashu Nayarak Sonia Chayeshkun, Ani Ati Frank and Dari Chayeshkun, Chivagamut, Ana Shu Alagnagamiu. My name is Sonia Chayelkun. I am named after my father's relative, Mr. Michael Nayarak. My dad is from Chivak and my mom is from Alaknak.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I guess I really want to start with, how did you get started with native humor and your auntie characters? What inspired you?
Well, our native humor is really, really strong in the village where we come from. Chivak is known to be a place where there's been so much humor. There's been lively traditional dance. There's been theater, which merges contemporary and ancient times together. A lot of humor and strength and culture comes from our community, and we're known for that statewide. But anyway, I had a skit character in the past few years for the work that I do around generational healing, and it was a silly grandmother type character that was meant to lift people up and bring joy while they were sharing their heavy stories. And so I loved that character, and I always wondered, how can I develop that character? What can I do? And then it was my birthday in September. Sonia had gotten on Facebook, and she had her dance fans and her kaspak and her scarf. And she said something like, "Hello, I would like to wish a happy birthday to my friend Polly." And she shared a silly traditional dance that was something like, "Happy birthday to you." And she looked just like this funny, silly auntie. And I took one look at that video and I said, that's the character, auntie, sister that I've always wanted to complement my auntie character. And I called her up and I said, let's do this. Let's get together as the aunties and let's start getting our humor out there and connecting with people. And so the beginning of Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month was the perfect way for us to get together and do that.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Sonia, I'd love to hear, what inspired you to make that funny video?
Well, Polly and I, when we're together, we share that humor, and we love to laugh and we love to eat and talk and tell stories. And humor with our friendship is the main thing we have in connection. And I wanted to wish her a happy birthday in, between our relationship. I was like, okay, it has to be funny. So I did this character of Auntie Grandma, and I sung her a happy birthday and did the motions, and that's where it started.
It
Yeah.
was the best birthday song I have ever seen in my life. It was so unique, and I knew it was something special that needed to be shared more.
Oh, yeah, it is so much fun. You know, you talked about that you do work a little bit with generational traumas and with youth, and it seems like you have such a humble way, because when you break it down and you're into these characters, you're really exposing something about yourself. You're allowing others to not only laugh with you but kind of laugh at that character. And it really seems to me that it's a virtue of humility. And I don't know if you've ever thought of it in that way, or or maybe if you could speak to a little bit about, like, your philosophy behind, the humor.
Mm. Well, I think it's a philosophy of the heart. You know, humor is one of those healing things that that connects with absolutely everybody, no matter what our culture is. We know that in very dark times, during the great deaths among our people, when our people were getting sick and many were dying in the early 1900s, our people still taught one another we need to laugh, even if we're so heartbroken, even if we've gone through loss and hard times. Always continue to laugh, even if we feel like we don't want to. And you know, when we laugh, we automatically feel better. And I think it's because that healing and that lightness has entered into our heart, and it's universal. And when Sonia and I shared it, we were dressed as Chupik anti characters, and we knew that it was going to hit home with our community and our native people, because our native people, no matter where we're from, lower 48 or Alaska, we connect to the same type of village, reservation, community, anti grandma humor. But I think what we didn't expect was that it was going to even reach beyond that to non-native people, non-native community, um, you know, people of different political views, of different cultural backgrounds, of males and females and young and youth and elder. And we realized it really hit home with everyone, because everyone resonates with that auntie in their life, that wisdom speaker in their life. Everyone resonates with goofy humor.
Mhm.
Everyone resonates with song and dance, and we think it really hit home with many people that way.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. Sonia, how about you? I mean, do you think about, like, do you have like a deeper kind of uh, inspiration or motivation that keeps you in that way of sharing your heart through humor?
Well, humor to me is healing, and I think that's um, very powerful, uh, especially in hard times. Like she said, like uh, during dark times, like especially now during when COVID hit, and then people were quarantined, people were stressed, people were, you know, miserable, they were isolated. And I think it was a perfect time for us to come out and do this video. And, you know, like she said, it touched everyone, and it brought them joy, it made them happy, it made them laugh, it made them connect. Oh, we have an auntie like that. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, laughter is medicine.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to an elder recently who talked about how reaching the young people, it's really important that video be used, because in these times, this is what the youth are relating to. And how still those traditional stories can be told, but that, you know, video is so important. And I was wondering, you know, you chose to do it through video, and I'm wondering, like, you know, if you feel that that's what enabled everyone to experience it.
What was the question?
Well, it's just kind of like, do you feel that it's important to continue to, I mean, well, as opposed to like just being in your community and maybe doing a little skit at a gathering, you know, and then here you are on video, and how the video is a way also to share. So maybe the question is about, you know, what kind of ways will you be sharing your humor, and do you have any plans for sharing more?
I think one of the things we were surprised by was how fast the video spread. You know, we kind of thought, you know, we're going to make our center of folks have a little laugh right before elections, and also encourage them, hey, get the vote out, you know. And by the next day, we saw that it had reached around Alaska and the lower 48, and it helped us to know how effective video and media is, and how it reaches youth and it reaches elders too. And so we also were quickly getting responses of, aunties, keep making more. We need our aunties, you know, and we want to see more aunties. You know, we love our aunties. And so we made the decision, you know, let's keep being aunties for people out there. Let's keep sharing our wisdom and knowledge, but humor and through video in a positive way. So that's something we want to continue to do.
Oh, that's wonderful. You too, Sonia?
And I think that in the modern times, people are getting lost with technology, everyday living, and we brought back the anti-role model, the wisdom, traditions, the native dance, and doing it through video. I know we can reach out to a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and I would have never even thought that I was going to do radio, and you know, as well. And so it's kind of like a, once you start to realize how far it can reach, and it seems really important, especially at the level of like grassroots and community, and, you know, being informal. And so I guess I just want to know a little bit more about, you know, what subjects do you think you'll be approaching? Do you have any ideas that you're working on?
We've thought of different a lot of areas. One of them being wisdom, of course, humor, always humor in it, song and dance.
Mm-hmm. One of the values that we were taught growing up, and I'm sure this resonates with all of our native cultures across the board, but one of the values we grew up with hearing from the aunties and the grandparents was, never say anything bad about people because it could happen to you. Or, you know, never say anything bad about people because your words are powerful and it could happen to your child, you know. And so we grew up hearing scoldings like that, and wisdom and guidings. And what we would like to do is take values like that and remind community about the importance of that value, but add a silly anti-spin on it.
Uh-huh.
We also thought about sharing the importance of traditional food and adding a silly, but so yeah, those are parts of future skits we want to talk about, is combining our values with the humor in a way that reaches everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. It's so much fun. It just really put a smile on my face. And I have to tell you, I listened to it a couple times. I would go when I turned on the social media, and I felt like, oh, I need a little smile. I'm going to listen to that Auntie video again.
Mm,
And I think that there is a lot of people going through some hard times with the COVID virus, and there was a lot of stress about the election. So it
Mhm.
was really fun to and it looks like it is going in our favor. um,
mhm,
uh, so it was really fun that you lightened it up with such
mhm.
great humor. That
Yeah, there was a part in the video, where we had done a small subliminal type of
Yeah,
shout out
yeah,
to
yeah.
Joe Biden, and that was just a funny piece in there. And we had someone from the lower 48 who we saw that he shared it, and he commented, he said, "I'm a Trump supporter, but I've got to share this." And it warmed my heart
Yeah.
because you realize, no matter who we are, it connects with people, and it connected with him in a good way enough that he felt moved to share it. And it helped me to know that that divisiveness that we were feeling, or that stress that we may have been going through with elections, it's that humor and that heart that is going to bring us together.
Hmm. Oh, yes. Very much so. I totally agree with you. And I think that's why, it makes me happy to see something like this, and why so many people are enjoying it, of all ages. And that's what I love about it too, is that you've chosen this kind of humor that really does reach the whole family. So, the little ones and the older ones can appreciate it as well. Um, so, would each of you like to share a little bit more about your community while I have you here on this interview? Because you live in such a different area, and you might have like different challenges. And I just thought it might be fun to hear how your community deals with, like, long winters and cold winters, and such high, mountains. And I was just, curious about your lifestyles.
Mm. Yeah, today, Sonia and I live in Anchorage, the urban area. Um, but of course, we originate from the community of Chivac, and we grew up close to the land and the environment. Food like seal and walrus and ducks and geese and salmon were a part of our everyday diet, and still is, even though we live here in the urban area. And so we grew up with healthy traditional activities, even in the midst of difficult things going on, or maybe social problems and things like that. We still grew up knowing the strengths of our people. And we also grew up with the strength of yurak, or our traditional dance. And our village is very well known for our traditional dance, for our drummers, for our singers, for the humor that comes out in the dancing. And, you know, those values at the end of the day are why I'm proud to be Chupik, because even in the midst of difficult times and change through historical trauma and the generational impacts of that, we still know who we are, and we didn't let go of that. I don't believe people when they say our culture is dying, because I believe it's still very much alive. It's walking us through. We're proud to say that we are Chupik. We dance today in our traditional way. We know our food. We know how to be in the tundra. We have the collective nature of our families and our people. And so there's so many strengths of our people and our way of life.
It's beautiful. Sonia, would you like to add to that?
I I grew up in a time where my Chupik and Yupik values and culture, along with the modern world um, uh, lifestyle. And I've um, it's something that I went through, and I'm aware of both sides, and I treasure my culture, my heritage, who I am, Chupik and Yupik, and I also am aware of the modern world, the westernized culture. So I'm living both, and I also, it's just where I'm at, and I treasure my native heritage.
Yeah. It's wonderful to, have that solid and security and balance, and perhaps that gives you the ability to, make fun and be silly, and have that, because you are so strong in knowing who you are. I just think that's it's really something to think about. We There's so many like genres of music and performances, but this kind of humor that you've chosen to um, share with everyone is like, it's so important, because I think it brings those traditional virtues and values, forward, and it's done in such a loving way, and it feels so good to experience it and listen to it. And I'll try to play your video on the radio, just the audio of it, and so that people can have a little bit more of that experience. But we've been talking, and I've been asking you a lot of questions. And is there something on your mind that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Listen to your aunties.
That's perfect. Of course we will, and we really appreciate you, and look forward to seeing your videos in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that time with us, and for connecting with us and appreciating the value behind our humor, our culture, and everything.
Yes. Well, it's really been an honor to meet you here. And it will be my honor to broadcast this short interview that we did, and share your video on social media. And I look forward to maybe talking to you in the future, just catching up, and hear more about living in Alaska. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ole one. Oh my God.